Okay, thanks for watching. We're playing a game here against PP Red. Never played this opponent before. We're going to enter our cards. Got Defectors and Indie Reds. Okay, so a really low ops hand. Probably going to headline Defectors. Oh goodness, this gives us, assuming we hold D-Style for blockade, that gives us a really small amount of ops to work with. But we're going to try to make the best of it. We're going to open 442. I wish that some of these cards, like instead of D-Style we had maybe De Gaulle or Suez. When I'm playing the US and I have a low ops hand like this, I generally try to see if I can put some points into France. Not so much as a way to protect Italy, but more as just a way to use up a few more ops. Try to spread my ops as effectively as I can, but here we're going with the standard 442 and a Defectors headline. So we're hoping he throws something into our Defectors trap, something really juicy like a Red Scare Purge would be great. Maybe one of his access cards like Decal or Vietnam Revolts. We're hoping to see something like that. Unfortunately, we give up a 2-up card and he loses just CNS, so that wasn't great. Thinking about maybe eventing Independent Red since we've got Romania. If we desperately need the ops, we could use them, but here we go with his big 4-up coup. Okay, well thankfully, since we opened 442, we save Italy. It looks like he rolled a 1, so we got a little lucky there. Not a little lucky, we got very lucky. So, what would that indicate, the coup on Italy? Well, it could mean that he's got Europe scoring. That's probably the most likely scenario, so one possible move could be just to fill up France and grab Europe domination. That uses our only 3-op card, here it's NORAD, and gives us no access to Southeast Asia. So I don't think that's the right move. Putting points into France also leaves us, means that he can more effectively use Suez. So maybe the thing to do here is play a point into Southeast Asia. So just something like that. Use up one of our 1-up cards.
The challenge of the 20th century is the challenge of human rights.
That seems like a really weak move.
Impersonal, natural forces.
Alternatively, if we see a coup here on Iran, I think this is going to be the play here. means we grab adjacency We grab adjacency via Indie Reds, and it makes Truman a really effective card. Oh my goodness, another 4-up coup. Well, that roll is much better. My goodness. So he had 2 4-up cards, and we had none. Okay. So now we have to worry about Middle East adjacency, and we could go something like this. The Nasser play here has a it's a 1 in 3 chance of actually getting him out of Egypt. The problem with it is it doesn't, we lose 1 point to Milops, and it doesn't guarantee us presence in the Middle East in case he were to coup. So since we have low ops, I think what I'm going to want to do is let's just put 1 into Lebanon. At this point he knows we have low ops. We're just trying to make the best of the limited ops we have. You know, it's really telling that he's played 2 4-up cards and we've played 2 1-up cards, and so sometimes that's just the way it goes. Probably, I'm expecting to see here either a coup on Lebanon, if he does have Mideast scoring, or if he doesn't, a coup on Panama. So his next move will tell us pretty much whether he's got a scoring card. You know, I was tempted earlier to play CIA in AR1, but I like the idea of making trouble for him later on, maybe in turn 3. Okay, another big ops card. But he decides to use it to take countries in the Middle East. Interesting. Instead of attacking France, he's also not moving into Asia. So this is really a signal that he's got... it's really looking like he's got Mideast scoring. Right now the Middle East is 4 points for him. I'm liking this play. We could either event independent Reds or use it to fill up France. So let's see the next move here. I think... You know, generally as the Soviets, I try to take France and Thailand. As the Americans, I try to prevent that. So, let's go with this. I may eventually need to give him Nasser. It's hard because it gives him 1 point in Egypt and access to another point, and before you know it, we're starting to look at Middle Eastern control. So, the idea would be here on AR6, if he's played Blockade, I discard D-Stal. If he hasn't played Blockade, then I play UN Intervention. The card that would really be difficult here would be Tikal, because it would let him both threaten France through Algeria and stick a point My goodness, another 3-point card. Well. Okay, so now we need to change gears. Killing in Lebanon is not good. So we could here in AR4 put 2 points into Jordan. That effectively has me trading a 2-point card. Or we put 2 points into Egypt. So maybe playing that 1 point into Lebanon was a mistake. If I play into Egypt, he could coup Egypt. Since we're only at DEFCON 3, if he coups Egypt, then if he coups Egypt and it works, then I would be, I could be denied access. I think I'm going to go for it. It's a big risk, but I'm guessing that he's used up his big ops cards and is just looking to dump Midi's scoring. Let's see if I'm right. Now playing Nasser and cooing is possible, but not very likely. Let's see how this goes. Had a really lopsided ops turn this round, but again, I'm not sure that I handled it the best. That 1 point in Lebanon set up a huge coup for him there. So I might have been better off lowering DEFCON, like some kind of... Alright, so he drops me scoring. So our play there into Egypt got him, actually saved a couple points, which was good. So the fact that he played that now, I'm not sure what to make of that. So what do we do now? I'd like to get a point. If we go like this, it saves us a point in Milops. And now that Midi's just been scored, I feel okay about that. Alternatively, we would be losing 3 points in Milops. It actually saves us 2 points in Milops. So I'm okay with doing this. Plus, it gets Nasser out of the hand. Right, because it lowers DEFCON by 1. And it gives us 1 point in Milops. So we'll lose 1 point at the end of the round. He, of course, has been cooing like a crazy person. So. Let's see what happens next. Alright, so his space shot fails. It's interesting, I probably would have played into that. So, de Gaulle is gone. What cards are we worried about? What we're going to do with our 1-op here. Of course, we could UN intervention Distel. but that means it could come back in the reshuffle. On the other hand, we haven't seen Blockade, and so we could lose it anyway, but I am going to hang on to it. I don't think there's a point of doing this. I think my only real play here is I could stick 1 point into Thailand for fear of Vietnam revolts or decall. I think that's the play. Alright. So we get Fidel in Europe, we get socialist governments, Indo-Pak War, Arab-Israeli War, special relationship, and Olympic Games. Okay, so we can't headline Olympic Games because of duck and cover. Not that he would be likely to play that, but it makes it unheadlineable. Arab-Israeli War is a good space card. We now have 2 cards to choose from when it comes to Blockade. We don't really have, I mean, once again, we're saddled with a lot of his cards. Some of his all of his Asia Access cards are still available. We do have to worry about the Cambridge 5. That's the card I don't want to see. But I'm guessing this is going to be an Asian Access card. And so what we could see is some kind of decall play into Algeria, and then a 4-point card could give him France. So even though it means giving up an op for special relationship, I think that's the one I want to play. Okay. So it means he'll get Laos and Cambodia. But because we were prudent and stuck an extra point in there, we'll be able to hang on to Thailand. I'm guessing we're going to see a coup here on Panama. And if he does that, my play is going to be Olympic Games, 1 into Laos, 1 into France. Let's see what happens. If he doesn't coup, if he decides instead to race me into Southeast Asia, then I'll probably look to coup maybe Egypt to get mill-ups. Although we don't need that, we do have IP War for mill-ups. And as the longer we hold IP War, I'm thinking this might be an AR6 play, because the longer we hold on to IP War, the more likely it is that he'll stay out of Pakistan. And since his very first coup on Italy, he really hasn't contested Europe at all. I think I just figured, well, we're going to write off Europe, which is fine. He doesn't know we have the scoring card, so I'm expecting he would, if he has Suez, he would just play it for ops. So the priority of this round is, oh my goodness, another 4-point coup. Okay. So this means we're going to place like this. I think that's the right move. He could just overpower us in Laos and Cambodia. If we had more ops, I would really like to spread into Angola and Zaire. Maybe put a point into Algeria. But thankfully for us, he used his gigantic card and his humongous coup to move into an already scored region. Now, next round, this could be a huge problem. So we need to get presence in Jordan, maybe with Arab-Israeli war. But I think this is the play for now. We're going to see if I can sneak in an early European domination. You know, if he doesn't... Actually, you know what? I should have probably played Fidel that way. Because right now he can play CIA with no consequences. But if I... yeah, I should have done Fidel. Because that way there's a coup target, CIA. Well, now that I think about this, I played CIA in the first round. Right, so the order doesn't exactly matter, but I do want to trigger Fidel if we don't see decall. So these 2 points for Fidel could be usable ops. Otherwise, Fidel will go to space. That might be our first space shot. I don't mind giving him Arab-Israeli war. We'll put 2 points into Jordan. Get presence in the Middle East. So we know we're going to play Europe. We know we're going to use Arab-Israeli for ops. We know we're going to event IP war. We're going to look to do that late in the turn. I may just have to space socialist governments. I think that's going to be the play. And hold D-Stal either for blockade or hold it over through the reshuffle. Right now, I'm guessing he's debating how to use Southeast Asia. He's probably wondering, right, you know, how likely is Asian domination? Maybe he has the Asian scoring card. Right now, Asia is even. If I had buckets of ops, I could finish taking Southeast Asia. But right now, we're in a pretty precarious situation. Everywhere except Europe. And even in Europe, man, if you put 2 ops into Italy, this would be a big problem. He might be holding even more 4-op cards. The other 4-up cards are pro-US. We've seen Red Scare Purge and Nuclear Test Ban. We have not seen US-Japan or Marshall Plan. NATO has been played without being triggered. So hopefully in the reshuffle we'll see some more of the higher op cards. So go back to our hand. Ah, and there's one right there. Okay, so once again our opponent has a 4-ups card. And I think the play here. Go. I think that was smart of our opponent to. Now, even though we were willing to give them Romania, basically just back off of Europe, focus on the Middle East, and I think he's debating whether to move into Pakistan here. I think that's the big question mark. Do you just consolidate control of the Middle East? Do you make some kind of a play for Southeast Asia? He's really not getting a lot of value so far out of Vietnam revolts, so maybe he's just going to jam into Thailand. Maybe he'll just climb over Laos, Cambodia. It does mean that socialist governments becomes a little more attractive as a card. Because, you know, we've now overprotected our battlegrounds in Europe, so losing a couple points, we may need to do a bit of repair, but we'll probably have a few points to maybe play into Angola and Zaire. That might be a good play. So let's see where he goes with Marshall Plan. If I were in his shoes, I'd be really tempted to just go for Middle East control. So maybe we may want to see about trying to get Saudi Arabia, if that's at all possible. So he's just going to race us from both directions, east and west. I'm okay with him using all those points to grab a non-battleground in Asia. We'll score Europe for domination. What I'm expecting is he'll put some points into Burma and then use the China card to take both Pakistan and India at the same time, grabbing a ton of points in Asia and making himself relatively immune to IP war. So our play of IP war will be purely for Milobs. So we may end up using the excess points in socialist governments to claim these Southeast Asian battlegrounds. That might be what we end up doing. Space. Again, if he plays, I mean, I'm on the fence. I want a Space Fidel, but I also want a CIA trigger for the reshuffle. I'm not saying I want him to play Decall, but if he does, there's a kind of secondary benefit. Alright, so he's eventing Suez 1 round too late. But he does, oh look at this, he does completely get us out of the Middle East. So he waited 1 round before clearing us out of France, and we waited 1 round too late before grabbing a spot in Jordan. So that, man, that really hurts us. Because to be without presence in the Middle East is rough. We do have sort of a backdoor in here through Syria. But now, of course, we can play this with complete absolutely no consequences. We are going to need to repair that. But, and the alternative is that we go in here. That's a really long-winded way about this. How else do we get back into the Middle East? I mean, if we don't do that, the Middle East is worth a gigantic 8 points for him. To walk our way back in is 1 point here, 1 point here, then into Jordan. I mean, that's It's a giant commitment of ops. I think I'd rather do that and threaten India. Alright, so things that I can do. We can simply repair France. We can just do that. And be ready to score Europe again if we get the opportunity.
Of the 20th century is the challenge of human relations, and not of impersonal, natural forces.
Or we take... Actually, the play I like here is this. So we don't need bombs. Because I'm wondering if one of the... see him. I think the next play is going to be socialist governments. Although the downside of socialist governments is that he can get us out of Turkey, which gives us a possible pathway into the Middle East. Now I'm really seeing the downside of losing Lebanon in that coup. That Lebanon was our sort of our lifeline. And waiting too long to get Jordan was, again, sort of a disaster. There'll be ways for us to get influence in the Middle East in the mid-war through Sadat and Camp David, but the question is the scoring card going to come up first? Colonial rearguards would also be a possibility, and I think another play here could be some kind of a play into Tunisia and a backdoor into Libya. There is yet another 4-ups card. My word. Alright, so we've officially seen all the 4-ups cards, and he has had them all. He's had them all. Alright, well, I think we need to work on our play towards Libya here. So I might have realized that too late. Maybe I should have used a point in the previous round. Perhaps instead of going into Angola, I could have moved into Algeria, but such is life. I'm the new event and repair socialist governments. Out of battlegrounds, then I can kind of re-establish this event and repair, maybe save an op or two. I'd like to overprotect France for de Gaulle. Okay, so he does that. I need to overprotect Italy. Need 1 point in France. And I think, alright, well, let's count up countries here. If he moves into India and Pakistan, he'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 countries to my 1, 2, 3. And he'll have 3 battlegrounds to my 2. But I think this is going to be the play. That lets us, on AR5, play into Tunisia. And that means that we force him to either coup a non-battleground, the start of turn 3, or give us access to Libya. You can also just play into Libya. But at least now we have a couple possible pathways. Duck and cover goes to space. Let's hope that fails as well. He fails his space roll. I'm gonna place into Tunisia here. The question is, do I want to put 2 there, or just the 1 and regain domination? I think that's how I want to do this. So he's not going to score Asia, it's looking like. It's looking like he's not going to score Asia. I'm guessing he's setting up to play blockade. There it is. He wants to see D-Style in the reshuffle. And... alright, so my question is, do I give up... Oh, this is an interesting question. Do I take the guaranteed 2 points? And allow him a pathway into Pakistan and India? Or do I play it, keep the 2 points? It's guaranteed 2. It could be more. I think I'm just going to play it. It doesn't go, but I get Milops. And we look at AR3. Okay, I get Korean War and Containment. I get 5-year plan and Formosa. We get our first four-op card of the entire game in Red Scare Purge. We draw Middle East scoring and Olympics and EEU. What do we know he has? We know he's got Decal, Asian scoring, Truman Doctrine, Cambridge 5, Containment. We know he holds the China card. Well, him having Asia is bad. I don't remember when he grabbed that point in Thailand. That's problematic. Alright, so I could drop... Man, that's horrible. What are we expecting he's going to play? We're expecting him to play Decal. I think we're going to play Purge. He's going to play Decal. No. Cambridge 5. Adds to his Mideast powerhouse. Man, that's crazy. Our opponent might have done us a favor by headlining that as opposed to Decal. If he takes a coup, I'm guessing a coup on Angola, then we grab Libya. If he takes Libya, then we could coup it. So that move into Tunisia does give us some possibility of access. And at this point, anything south of 5 points is fine for the Middle East. We are going to have to worry about OPEC. And he could have redrawn de-Stalinization when he played blockade. But our goals here are pretty simple. Try to avoid getting dominated in Asia, knowing he's got the China card and Decal. That's going to be challenging. We do have a possibility of playing into South Korea. But our opponent's got some big choices to make. Does he want to flip Thailand? I totally miss him placing into Thailand. He must have done it. He did it when he played US-Japan. I see. At that point, I was so focused on the Middle East, I totally forgot that one point. I definitely could have maybe used a point from that I did. I stuck here in the UK. I could have used it to overprotect Thailand. That would have been a better play. Of course, we didn't know he was going to draw Asian scoring. Oh, he draws IP War. And he decides to coup. Oh, that's good news. Okay. So... well, right now the China card cannot flip Thailand thanks to Red Scare Purge. Alright, at long last, we have gained a foothold, and made sure that Libya is only, or it gives us presence. So that ended up working out for the best. I want to retake these African countries, stick a point in Panama. Normally I like to get some presence in Mexico, but I'm not sure we'll have enough. We have decent ops this round, but not exceptional. I'm expecting him to decall here into Angola and Nigeria right away, which isn't great. The fact that he redrew IP War, it gives him an opportunity to place into Pakistan and India. Since we've got Korean War, I feel pretty good about grabbing a third battleground. That'll kind of neutralize the situation. We'll probably each have 3 battlegrounds. He may be able to score Asia for a couple points, but his big windfall is going to be here in the Middle East. And so what he's probably wondering is, you know, operating under Red Scare, or sorry, operating under Purge, does he try to take Mideast control? I think he realizes that's probably futile. So I'm expecting to see some really just focusing on Africa. That's what I would do in his shoes. Okay, so he plays UN. Alright, so duck and cover gives him some points. Alright, so I'm surprised to see this. I was really expecting him to I think he's trying to grab some more points in Asia, which, I mean, it's understandable, but we can counter with that. That saves us a point. If he, we are going to have to score Mideast, but there's no way he can race us. That's not going to get any worse. I feel pretty good about this move. We know we've got Korean War. He knows we've got Korean War. But there's no way he can race us in Asia. He's probably just trying to grab a couple battlegrounds for points. We should also be thinking ahead to the mid-war. I'd like to stick a point here in Spain or Greece. We need some kind of Central American presence. That's really important. Ideally 2 points in Mexico, failing that 1 point in Panama, possibly both. We're going to keep playing Ops Air. There's D-Style. Alright, so he is going to grab... Oh, interesting. Oh, interesting that he didn't take Nigeria. Okay, so we repair Thailand and Angola. Interesting that he didn't play into Nigeria, because he has access to Angola already through 2 of the mid-war cards. Where are we going to put this third op here? I'm not expecting he's going to race us, but frankly, just so I don't forget, I think I'm going to put it to Thailand. That's the type of thing I would be liable to do, just like last turn. Alright, so we've got... We have to play Middle East. We'll play one of these cards for Ops. I'd like to space Korean War. Alright, he's spacing containment. Interesting. It's the 3rd failure for him. I normally play that as the Soviets in AR6, but this gives us a chance to just play Middle East for 4. And it's gonna... Now, so what's interesting, I could... There's Asia. Okay, so I think the play here is... There's a lot of things I want to do. I want to overprotect France to guard against de Gaulle, or socialist governments, or something like that. I want to play into Mexico for liberation theology. Of those things, let's see, we haven't seen defectors. We know Europe's not going to get scored. I actually think this is a bit of a risk. Alright, but I do get first to space. I say it's a risk because I could otherwise have used 2 ops to overprotect, to take Angola, or Algeria rather, to overprotect Angola, to take Mexico, to fill up Panama. There's a lot of things I could have done. And space was possibly not the biggest priority, but getting the jump on him, and that feels good. The downside of that play is that One Small Step now is active for him, but grabbing the 2 points, evening up the victory point count, moving forward on the space race, those things seem pretty good to me. It also gets one of his cards out of my hand. Alright, so here goes Truman. Interesting. Alright, well, he gives me military op. I'm not sure about that play at all. At all. Because now I can coup Nicaragua, setting up realigns, getting myself presence, giving me a victory point. I think that was a mistake on his part. Oh, and look, we got Bear Trap. Alright. So when we add in the mid-war cards, we get Bear Trap, which is a likely headline. Actually, we have several good cards. Lone Gunman, that's a problem. How I Learned, CNS, Usuri, Brush War, Summit, U2, and those are our cards. Okay, so what I would like to do is save Capture Nazi Scientist, space a card first, because on the Space Race track, it's slightly more likely that I'll get Animal in space. So I'm thinking, play Bear Trap, steal the coup Zaire, and then realign him out of Cuba. I think that's going to be the plan. We can even do something crazy where we use Brush War on, like, as a safety mechanism. If he gets into South America with Junta or something, we could always Brush War it. So I think we're going to put him in the Bear Trap. Oh, and he throws in South America. Okay, well, that's not a bad headline. It means he didn't draw something like D-Style or Junta. Let's see what he uses to get out of the Bear Trap. Alright, he puts in Puppet Governments and fails. Oh, wait, that's not Puppet Governments. Okay. So now we coup Zaire with Learn. Works. Gives us Millops. I was tempted to coup with something else, and then on AR7 use How I Learned to jack up the. Oh, this is bad for him. All right, so he's failed twice in the Bear Trap, which means we're gonna realign. We're gonna realign him in Cuba. We don't really have any secondary targets. I guess we could always go for Angola. So that's one downside of the whole realignment play. But the minute he gets out of the Bear Trap, I'm expecting he's going to coup us in Nicaragua for Millops. So we want to use that. But I will use a smaller card. Okay, so that went off right away. Oh, goodness, that was bad. Maybe I shouldn't have taken that second realign, who knows. But I'm expecting a coup war now in Nicaragua. Alright, so he's third tries the charm. Getting rid of NORAD. I think I'm just going to take Cuba. If he wants to coup into Nicaragua, that's fine, because now we're set up for Central American control. I am going to have to play CNS for the easier spot, which is kind of a problem. Of course, you have to hold Lone Gunman. Of course, the alternative is I could always steal the China card with Usuri, but that doesn't feel that great. Asia's already scored. No real threats. We're very happy to draw Brush War, as opposed to him. I could Brush War Angola, but he's got so many ways to get it back that I don't think that's very useful. I could Brush War Egypt, but we're going to get that anyway with Sadat. There's Pakistan, 50-50 on Pakistan. Maybe not the worst idea. But again, Asia's already been scored. Ah, here's his gigantic coup again. Oh, interesting. Not a coup. Alright, well... I think... we will simply... I could save Summit. I don't want to space any of these cards. I think I'm just going to take the space spot. Even though it's the easier one, I think that's the best use of CNS. I did get to dump a lot of our cards, but... oh, that's not great. I guess that's only fair, though, since we stuck him in the bear trap for what seems like forever. Alright, let's give him Osuri. And we get out of Quagmire. We never really held many of his cards, so it's not like we missed an opportunity there.
En las condiciones de la inmensa mayoría de los países de América Latina, no hay otro camino que la lucha armada.
Okay, so he's using Arms Race. Alright, we'll go back here. That was not a great roll, so we'll see what happens if I go back. Not a bad use of Summit. So we're going to need to play Brush War next. Could use it as Ops, but the possible gain in VPs is just a little too enticing here. Sort of forgotten about Southeast Asia. Oh, he coups with Portugal. Okay, well, let's see here. Knowing that Decal and Portuguese Empire out of the deck, that makes a Brush War of Angola. I guess that makes that the best option. So, there we go. Okay, Kitchen Debates is active, which is kind of nice. We get one small step, which is also good. Socialist Government looks like Event and Repair. European Scoring, Willy Brandt. Southeast Asia, Allende. And Missile Envy. Okay, so I believe Duck and Cover is in the discard pile. It is. So, even if he headlines, I think Missile Envy is safe here. I'm tempted to headline Kitchen Debates, but I don't think I will. I could go with Southeast Asia or Europe. Problem with that is ABM is still out there. Right now, Southeast Asia is 2 points for him. If we fill that up, we can make that even. I think Missile Envy is the headline here. Possible Missile Envy targets are, what we'd like to see is something like ABM. But, other less desirable targets. Muslim Revolution, we'd be glad to see that in our hand instead of his. Although, We Will Bury You would be great. Save some points. I'm going to look to... Right now we can space 2 cards. So... Spacing Willy Brandt and socialist governments, if we could. We're going to want to event kitchen debates. Okay, so Junta goes off. Luckily for me, Missile Envy triggers first, so if he gives me a DEFCON degrader like, oh, well, this is very nice. Okay, so what am I going to do with flower power here? I'm going to coup, for sure. Unfortunately, he doesn't have... I mean, we could coup... Iran? Although, thinking this through here, the only area that he could coup Panama, and he could coup Cuba with Junta. I don't want him to do that, but on the other hand, if he sticks 2 points into Panama, he could just overtake it. So, maybe the thing to do is to fill up, is to use flower power for ops. Well, something like... And that leaves me open to his, well, wait a minute, we do know that he'll need to put... Alright, we know he'll need to use Missile Envy next round, so if he places 2 into Panama, he could take it, so... Really the question is, do we want to give him, what we don't want him to do... I think... Man, this is a tough one. I think just placing influence is the best. If he takes Mexico... I could threaten some realigns. I think that's the play. That was a tough decision. The problem is, there's no real attractive coup targets. No way to drop DEFCON without coupping either into a scored region. Alright, so he does use the coup there, and he's going to look to take Panama with Missile Envy. At this point, I'm okay with this. You know, we'll get our mill ops by coupping Nicaragua. Okay. Alright, so we get our mill ops. I'm expecting a coup war here in Nicaragua. I could have just placed influence in Haiti or Guatemala, but I didn't want to lose my only chance to get mill ops for the round. If he coups Nicaragua back and it works, then I'll probably just stick 2 points there. We are going to have to event Allende unless he plays Astronaut. This is one of those those rounds where we'd like to see that. But the fact that South America has been scored and we still have cards like OAS in the deck, I don't feel too bad about that. I'd also like to get another point here into Tunisia to set up African domination. I think the play is going to be Europe first, then Willy Brandt to fill up these two non-battlegrounds in Southeast Asia, then score Southeast Asia. Although maybe I need to change around the order there. Giving up 2 points in Southeast Asia is not horrible. Yeah, actually, the more I think about it, that might have been a mistake to coup Nicaragua. Because if he's holding Africa, I'm going to expect him to see it now, and I only get 1 point out of that, which is not ideal. On the other hand, the fact that he couped Panama with junta and didn't save missile envy for coup in Angola, that might tell us that he doesn't have Africa. Looks like we won't be planning to space this round, unless, I mean, I could space socialist governments. But let's see what he does. There's a few cards we haven't seen that are going to be really consequential. Obviously, Central America and Africa are the unscored regions that we don't accounted for here. We haven't seen ABM. He could have that. He could have given us flower power for missile envy and been holding ABM. We haven't seen. Okay, so Lads goes here. Okay, now that's interesting. Playing into 2. Alright, so let's think this through here. I mean, I've already got my mill-ups. He might be baiting us into, now he could already coup, so, I mean, apart from just taking an unscored region, I'm not sure what that really gets him. I'm going to go ahead and just forget about that, score Europe. Maybe the play into Austria was to give Italy adjacency, figuring muscle his way into Italy and then get into France. Not sure what's going on there. We're probably going to give him Willy Brandt in order to take Tunisia and put us on African domination. Yeah, but I'm really not sure what that play was about. Normally you see the play from Panama into Colombia by the US player. Other cards we haven't seen. We don't know where CIA is. Oh my goodness. Oh, he gives us. Oh my word. Wow. Yikes. So how best to use Voice of America? So the regions that haven't been scored are Africa and Central America. Oh, that's probably what he was thinking. I mean, I do want to take it out of Colombia. I guess take away his presence in Africa, and also So that way he's going to choose between either retaking South Africa or losing his... He's basically going to choose between losing presence in Africa and Central America. I think that's the play there. He can fix one of those problems, but not both. I'm guessing he's going to repair South Africa, or maybe play into Botswana, do something to get presence, unless he's holding South African unrest. That might be what's going on here. We also haven't seen D-Style, so what would be terrible for me would be a D-Style play into... Wow. Okay. So that tells me he doesn't have Africa, so we can kind of press pause on that for a bit. We can even things up in Southeast Asia. We're going to want to event kitchen debates ASAP. One thing that's been helping us, or helping the scoreboard at least, is that we saw Mideast come out relatively early in the obviously in the early war. We've seen Europe come out twice, but Mideast only once. So even though the scoreboard is currently in our favor, that probably will not last long. Right, because the Middle East is right now worth 4, and we've got to worry about OPEC. And we also were able to score Europe without any shenanigans from de Gaulle. We've drawn socialist governments twice. So those things count in our favor. Still, the unscored regions look promising.
Нам посмеетесь, когда мы, знаете, обгоним вас и скажем: господа, капиталисты, до свидания, наш поезд сюда идет.
Okay, so liberation theology. And we don't have a lot of ops ready to answer that. Okay, so what to do here? We could realign both of these at a pretty big advantage. In fact, Cuba, I think, realigns at +3. Problem is we don't have a lot of ops to do that. I think I feel pretty good doing this. Alright, so give him Allende, retake Cuba, play Central America now. That's a disaster. But that might be what happens. A card that we'd really like to see would be Salt, because that way we could get rid of Lone Gunman. Okay, well, we're lucky in that he's choosing to... I mean, lucky and unlucky. We're not going to get to use kitchen debates. But we are going to be able to retake Central American domination. We're losing South America, but I'm not too worried. We do have OAS, and we've got puppet governments coming back in the reshuffle. We are going to have to worry about, there's a late war card that loses us influence in Nicaragua and allows them to coup Cuba. So that's a problem for later. Right now, we're just going to try to... Alright, let's see how his space race rolls. Oh my goodness, I don't think he's made a single roll all game. We're going to play that for nothing and see what happens with socialist governments. Ideally, we'd like to space it. Let's see what happens. Oh man, he still has to coup, that's right. So I'm expecting a Nicaragua coup here, unless he's forgotten about that and is now going to score. We did get lucky, though. I mean, that OPEC play for him, that could have been 4 points. So the fact that we're sitting at 5 is not too bad.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
The deck is stacked in our favor. His cards that we're worried about are We Will Bury You, T-Stall, South African Unrest, Muslim Revolution. Alright, so he's giving us nuclear subs. And we're not really going to be able to take advantage of that. Alright, so breaking us in the Middle East, again, this region's been scored, so he's giving us 2 points on DEFCON. And we're going to send socialist governments to space. Our roll failed, but then again, he lost a lot. So, that is, he failed a lot of space rolls, so we can't really complain. Panama's interesting. Defectors, Alliance for Progress, Arab-Israeli War. We get NATO. John Paul II. Nixon. Okay, so we could salt at some point in the round to get rid of Lone Gunman, but I'm expecting we're going to see Ask Not. We didn't draw either of the scoring cards, so Defectors is interesting. Our possible headlines, we could use Nixon, just get the China card. I'm expecting that he would not headline African scoring. Really, or Central American scoring. I'm expecting that a Soviet player would want to hold those in the expectation of an AR-1 coup. So one possibility here is play Defectors. What kind of cards could it hit? It could hit Muslim Revolution. It could hit Brezhnev. We Will Bury You. I don't think that's very likely. South African Unrest, I think, is very likely. There's enough bad cards in here, even Cuban Missile Crisis, that I think Defectors is the way to go. Oh, good. So Defectors hits Brezhnev, which is kind of perfect. Alright, let's see what he plays.
Not peace at the expense of freedom, but both peace and freedom here in this hemisphere, and we hope around the world. God willing, that goal will be achieved.
Okay, so we saw an AR-1 coup in Libya, which didn't work, as I'm sure he was expecting. That's a real surprise, because, again, Central America and Africa are unscored, so that's... I don't know what to make of that. I think the play here is... Eventually I'm going to want to play Salt for Lone Gunman, but maybe that would be a play. I still haven't seen Ask Not, so I want to get rid of Lone Gunman, and there's a couple ways to do it. Another thing I want to do here is to play Nixon, and finally I want to kind of establish African domination here. Alright, so I think what I'm going to do is I could retake Libya for presence in the Middle East. Or I could do it this way to also get African domination. So that, I mean, we could see Middle East again. When is the reshuffle coming? I mean, there's still, I'm guessing we'll each get 7 cards. So we could see a reshuffle next round, not necessarily. I'm thinking the reshuffle is not, it's possible depending on whether he plays Arman and Tehran. Oh, that's what he's thinking. That's it. He wants to take control of Libya to prevent me, to be able to cleanly play Arman and Tehran. So we don't want that. I mean, I don't want to give up the VPs. I think that's going to be the play here. So a play of Panama would be kind of an interesting move. I kind of like that. But right now we're dominating in Africa and Central America. So we want to keep those two things. We'll need to overprotect Libya if we want Omid to go off, now that I think about it. Yeah, now that I think about that move, I mean, it's sort of a big investment of ops knowing that Sadat is around the corner. So maybe that was a misplay. I mean, playing Panama would break... Panama Canal returns would break Venezuela and Panama, so we'd have to decide which of these two South American countries he wants to protect, so maybe that would have been the better play. Now we see ABM. Once again, just a flood of 4-up cards. Oh man. Alright, so my opponent rolls not well enough. Okay, so I think now we play Panama. This lets us threaten Panama, Venezuela, and Brazil in one shot.
Achieving the goals before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the Earth.
So what order do we want to do this in? I mean, I know we want to play these cards, but I'm thinking John Paul is action round 7. That breaks Poland. So we have 2. what I do here is I take the China card, prevent him from using it, because we know there's a lot of unplayed US events. CIA, Colonial Rear Guards, grain sales, Sadat, OAS. So I think that the way is take the China card, then break Panama, then take Brazil, Venezuela, and or Panama. I'm expecting him to make a play here into Africa. His next move will tell us whether he's got Central America or Africa, or I guess neither, or both. I don't normally hold Lone Gunman this long, but if I can hold it through this round, I'll have the China card, and I guess possibly look to, I mean, ditching it with Salt is a good play, but we don't know if he scores Africa, then I feel like I could do that. But I think first we play Panama Canal. Okay. So he's playing into South Africa for presence. So now that's worth 4 points to me. Okay. I think we played this way. So now he loses presence he regained presence in Africa, now he loses presence in Central America. And we're expecting he's going to want to do something about that. Speaking of doing something, I do want a coup. That's something I need to do. Okay, he's playing Shea. Well, that's not enough. My opponent's not cooing well this round. He's probably going to coup Costa Rica, I'm guessing. This puts us in a position to control Central America, which is
Our goal is not victory of might,
he may have
but
both
the
groups
vindication of
on
right.
this.
Not peace at the expense of freedom, but both peace and freedom.
Okay, so that's
Here in this hemisphere,
so now we control
And we hope
one
around the
and
world.
dominate the other.
God willing, that goal will be
I don't know if I would have done that, especially if I don't need mill-ops. I don't think I would have gone that route. I think just simply flipping Angola. I mean, I see what he was thinking. Assuming he rolled decently, he could get presence or stop my domination in both regions, which I see makes sense. We might be seeing some scoring cards here. Okay, so we can get rid of Cultural Revolution.
To achieving the goal before this decade is out,
We can get rid of Warsaw Pact,
the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
and we can get rid of Cuban Missile Crisis. Cuban Missile Crisis. I mean, if we get that, we're in a position to stop him from cooing. Yeah, I'm okay leaving that in the deck. This is rough.
de la inmensa mayoría de los países de
I feel
América
for my
Latina,
opponent here.
no hay
Just
otro
can't do
camino.
anything about these terrible rolls.
Y esa parece ser la situación también.
Okay, so what to do?
Y de
Could play Arab-Israeli War and coup Colombia for Milops. I think that's the play. And his roll fails again. My opponent's been really unlucky with rolls. So now the question is, what scoring cards does he have? We know it's not Central America because we saw that, but he could have Africa. He also could have some unplayable US cards like Grain Sales or CIA. On the other hand, he could have South African unrest and Muslim revolution, so I guess we've got lots of possibilities. Alright. He plays D-Style for Ops. Okay. Well, if there was ever a sign that somebody had African scoring, I think that would be it.
And so, my fellow Americans,
That puts you back on 4.
what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
Yep, I think that's the play. And we're expecting to see Africa here for 4. There it is. Africa goes for 4, and we play JP2 for the event. Alright, we get Central America. And we get Muslim Revolution, Shuttle Diplomacy, Camp David, Ask Not, De Gaulle, UN, and Alliance for Progress at back. And let's see here. So it looks like he's got CIA and grain sales, colonial rear guards, Sadat, OAS, Cuban Missile Crisis. So this is interesting. He could be in a kind of DEFCON suicide situation here. I'm not sure how this is going to work for my opponent, because if my card tracking is accurate, he's got both CIA and grain sales. Oh, well, wait a minute. He can space 1. He can space grain sales. So, if he's got something like 5-year plan, that's going to be challenging, but what kind of a headline would I expect? I don't know. I'm not sure about that. Our headline could be Alliance for Progress, but I may be able to grab another battleground, so we might wait on that. We could play Camp David, giving us access to give us access to Saudi Arabia, and that means when he plays Sadat on his action round, we would take Egypt, so that would help out in the Middle East. We're almost definitely going to use UN, but we're going to have to use it on Lone Gunman. I'm going to try to save Ask Not. Although, another possible headline could be to use Ask Not to get rid of Lone Gunman and maybe De Gaulle. I actually think, though, the best headline for me is Shuttle Diplomacy. Okay. Well, he does to us what we wanted to do to him. We give him Muslim Revolution. And that's going to lose us presence in Libya. Shuttle makes it impossible for him to get Mideast control, but it's going to lose us a bucket of points. There's really nothing we could have done about that. Close to ending the game. Alliance and Central America wins and loses. So, assuming that we don't see some kind of, crazy, well, now this is problematic though, because now that I think about it, I have to play Missile Envy in AR1, so that headline kind of hurt. Yeah, I mean, knowing what he had in his hand, there really wasn't a good chance that he could have, oh, here comes his coup, man. I think he's drawn nuclear test ban like a million times. Jeez Louise. Alright, so this could be the play. If he repairs Panama, we get to realign at +1. And if nothing else, we shore up domination. Does he have any playable 2-up? He does have Cuban Missile Crisis. So let's see, if we place into Panama at 5, he could take it, so I think that's the play. I think we play like this. And right now, Middle East is worth 8 for him. Pretty sure he doesn't have it. Pretty sure he's just got a ton of US cards in his hand. So it looks like he likely has CIA, grain sales, colonial rear guards, South African unrest, Sadat, OAS, Cuban Missile Crisis, and Indy Reds. I'm expecting Cuban Missile Crisis into Panama, and then I realign there it is. Oh no, he doesn't even do that at all. He puts 2 in there. Alright, so right now Central America's only 3. I want to get back to Central American control. So let's think this through here. The safe play would be to UN intervention Lone Gunman. I could use the China card, because mean, I want to... Yeah, so it's if I use the China card, I can both hold Lone Gunman and hold Astronaut. So that's a good thing. That's once again terrible realignments. This is the worst. Seriously, one roll. Come on. Ugh. That's not what I wanted at all. That's not what I wanted at all. Alright, so the difference between domination and control, it's a pretty big swing. Alright, it's 2 points, 3 points, it's 3 points for me, and a loss of 2 points for him, so it's a net of 5 points. The question is, do I do that again? Or do I just take my 3? I may just take the 3. Because now I have to realign them out and then take, so that becomes more challenging. So I may just space de Gaulle. I'll do this. Space de Gaulle. And then play Alliance for Progress for points. It's only 2. Yeah, I have to use UN for the event. I could still play Astronaut. Get rid of Lone Gunman and de Gaulle, but now that he's playing so much into South America, I would actually like to be able to keep Astronaut. So I think we just cut our losses and play Central America for 3. Doesn't feel great, but that's the breaks. Probably have pressed harder in Poland, but I mean, at this point, Europe, Africa, Asia, these cards pretty much win us the game, so I'm not too worried. Next, de Gaulle goes to space, and then we sort of run out of ops. I might overprotect Angola, even though he just played Portuguese Empire. What's going to happen next, though, is he's going to lose. He's going to lose a lot of tempo because he's got a ton of U.S. cards, just a ton, and they're all low op cards. There we go. Independent Reds goes. It gets Romania, and he's going to coup where? Colombia. Alright. I need ops as well. We're going to lose, it looks like 1 point in no ops there. We're going to gain a point at Camp David, and I'm not sure if I want to get the 2 from Alliance for Progress or use it for ops. We'll see how his play goes.
condiciones de la inmensa mayoría de los países de América Latina, no hay otro camino que la lucha armada. Y esa parece ser la situación también en muchos otros países de Asia y de
DeGaule's more successful. So now, we get to 19. If he gives us OAS and we can take Venezuela, this puts us within striking distance. Alright, so OAS. I think that might be the game. Because that's Alliance of Progress for 3 and Camp David for 1 more. I think that's the game. Unless he realigns us out. Let's see. No, he doesn't do that. Alright, so Alliance for Progress goes for 3. And now we're expecting to see Colonial Rear Guards or Sadat. Either way, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I think my opponent was just blessed with high ops and cursed with low die rolls. I think that's really what this comes down to. Well, thanks for watching. We didn't make it to the late war, which was unfortunate, but hope you enjoyed the game, and I'm sure I made innumerable mistakes, so please feel free to post them. Let me know what you thought. I'm looking to improve this. This is a kind of trial run for recording games like this. Please feel free to make comments about the quality of the recording or lack thereof. I'd really look forward to any ideas about gameplay or recordings that you might have. Thanks for watching.